Morning. When I was asked as a little kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never gave a straight answer. I had no idea what I wanted to be, where I wanted to go, or who I wanted to become. It is kind of a tough question to ask a 3 or a 6-year-old. Granted, most kids usually blurt out the most exciting jobs they can think of, like an astronaut or a firefighter or a rock star. But I wasn't like most kids. Growing up, I found it hard to discover who I truly was, most likely because I was told that I was worthless and a loser almost every day by my classmates. Quite honestly, it got to me. I avoided conflict as much as possible and kept to myself for the most part. I just tried to keep my head down and make it through each day. I became so used to hearing that I was worth nothing that I began to believe it. Through my years of school, I have grown up extremely self-conscious, and I didn't have many friends when I was younger. My family was the closest thing I had. Since before I could remember, I could always count on my siblings to be by my side. Whether it was sports, parties, hospital visits, and of course school, at least one member of my family has always been with me. Not only am I the oldest of 3 kids, but I've also had the pleasure of growing up along my 10 first cousins, 5 of which who live in North Andover, they're pictured up top, and the other 5 who live in Carnegie, a town in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I also have family in Ohio, Texas, California, Washington, New Hampshire, Maine, London, Scotland, and many more places around the globe. Wherever I go, I'm surrounded by family, always. So today, I wanted to talk to you all about my family, who I've learned from and grown with over the past few years. I am pretty close in age with both my siblings. Over the years, my relationships with each of them have grown immensely in their own unique ways. But of course, having a sibling so close in age with you comes with the risk of being compared to each other. However, out of the 2, I'm compared the most to Casey. Casey and I are very different people. We like different shows, different music, we have our own style. We like different music subjects in school, and we even look different. I can almost guarantee some of you did not know we were sisters before this moment. The first thing people usually say to us when we find out that we are siblings is whether or not they think we look alike. Most have always thought that we looked at least a little bit related, but some think we are twins, some think she is older, or some people think like one of my old classmates, Finn Maitland. September before my sophomore year, Casey was starting her freshman year here at Brooks, and I was approached by Finn in Mr. Wagner's chemistry class. Finn asked me curiously, "Hey Kailey, did you know there's another O'Neill here at Brooks?" To this question I responded, "Yes, Finn, that's Casey." "Oh," he said, "so you know each other?" "Yes, Finn, that's my sister." "Oh, okay, word. So, where did you guys get her?" Yes. In the weirdest and most uncomfortable way possible, Finn had asked me if my sister was adopted. As different as we may look from one another, my mom always dressed us up in the same outfits and signed us up for all the same activities. We have both danced, figure skated, swam, skied, played baseball, ice hockey, field hockey, lacrosse, soccer, and we both did gymnastics. But I've always been pretty aggressive and super competitive. I used to challenge the guys on my baseball team to push-up contests or a race around the bases, while Casey was perfectly content sitting back in the dugout. Somehow, though, we managed to end up spending all 3 seasons together at Brooks. Casey has progressed over the years to become a top-tier athlete. She's been a starting defender on the lacrosse team here since her freshman year and is the fiercest and sometimes scariest player on the field. Trust me, she can be terrifying. For as different as we are, we actually get along decently, even if we do get into fights pretty easily. These fights range from what time we are going to leave school to using each other's makeup or wearing an article of clothing that isn't our own. These fights usually result in a car ride of silence, my mom having to yell at us both, or Casey calling me a homeless cow. But for the most part, for every time we fight, there are twice as many good times that we have shared together. From belting out Mambo No. 5 in the car rides home, to running around our old living room listening to Jesse McCartney, or even playing Monkey in the Middle with Connor, enjoying the time we both still have left being taller than him. The year Casey and I were closest, however, when I started my freshman year here at Brooks, and Casey was finishing up her last year at Pike as an 8th grader. Not seeing Casey every day actually strengthened our relationship. The bickering was limited, and instead we talked about our days and what was going on in our lives, and how much we both loved school. One day, Casey told me she was nervous about coming to Brooks and leaving Pike behind because she told me she did not want to walk around school and be known as Kailey's sister. She just wanted to be Casey. Casey was fortunate enough to know who she was long before I figured it out. She likes her space. She is sassy, dramatic, caring, intelligent, athletic, and most of all, the best sister I could ask for. Not having you down the hall from me next year is going to be strange. And I'll miss our times bickering where you hit me with a hairbrush, or dancing in the kitchen where Mom and Dad ask us why we turned out so weird. I hope this time apart has the same effect on our relationship that spending 8th grade and freshman year apart did. I love you, Case. Miss you more than anything. My brother Connor and I are more similar to each other than Casey and I ever were. Connor and I are almost identical in terms of looks. Sometimes I can even open his phone with Face ID, but he can't open mine. We also have the same personality, and he enjoys the same things as me, even the same clothes. Connor and I are constantly competing, whether it's an overly intense match of NHL or one of us takes a wrist shot to the face in knee hockey. We are always entangled in some sort of battle. Because of this, Connor tends to make up these random and pointless competitions in my house that only he can win, just so he can have his own claim to fame. These include being the first child to wake up that is a boy, the first kid to get stitches, and the current holder of the most soccer goals, even though Casey and I quit soccer 10 years ago. And many more gold stars and pretend trophies he's bestowed upon himself that make no sense. As annoying and vain these may be, Connor never fails to make me laugh, whether he means to or not. Connor just turned 15 8 days ago, and like Casey, Connor has known who he is for a while. He's the goofy youngest child who never backs down from a challenge. It will be hard to find another kid as passionate and courageous as Connor, especially at his age. As often as you get on my nerves, Connor, I'm gonna miss racing you to the house or trying to snipe each other during a Nerf war. Stay on, kid. Keep doing you. Time starts to fly. Enjoy the next few years ahead. I love you. As well as going to school with my siblings, I've always gone to school with one of my cousins. The first one being Alex, who I'll get to later. But more recently, I had the pleasure of going to school with my cousins Kate and Elizabeth. Before the 5th grade, I would not have been able to tell you where Kate and Elizabeth went to school. All I knew was that it wasn't my school and it was someplace fancy. However, come my last year of elementary school, I needed a change of schools desperately, and that's when I learned about Pike. Though Kate and I are only 6 weeks apart, her birthday was just before the cutoff, meaning she would always be 1 grade above me. She's been by my side since the day I was born. We have had countless amounts of play dates, concerts in the living room, lunches with my grandma and grandpa, but the days I cherish most were the days we spent running around Brooks. Yes, Kate is a faculty child, and of whom you may ask. Well, to all of you, he is Mr. Packard, but to me, he is P-Money, Pack Daddy, P-Hound, but mostly I just refer to him as Uncle John. Yes, I'm the head of school's niece. Coming to Brooks my freshman year, however, I planned on hiding the fact that I was related to the big man on campus for as long as I could. Not because I was ashamed or embarrassed, but because I didn't know how to handle it. Turns out I didn't really have to figure it out, because every time I passed him on Main Street with friends, he promptly asked all of them, "Has she told you I'm her uncle yet?" Problem solved, I guess. I felt like I had a reputation to uphold, certain standards I had to meet, and Kate exceeded all of them. Kate and I grew up together, but she excelled in different areas in life than I did. Not only is she currently a freshman at an Ivy League school, but she can also sing, act, dance, was a day student prefect, a school prefect, and student government president. The bar was set pretty high. But Kate and I have always supported each other in everything that we do. I've never missed one of Kate's musicals or plays that she put on here at Brooks, and she came to every single sporting event of mine that she could. Being in the same school as her has allowed us to create a stronger bond. Kate, from a young age, was shy, but she was sure of herself. She knew her strengths and was always there to open up to, even if she wasn't quite ready to open up to you yet. As the oldest child, she faces similar pressures and problems as I did. She taught me to love myself and embrace my strengths. Not having Kate here has been kind of a drag, but having Elizabeth is a close second. Not going to school with her now has allowed me to grow closer with her as well. Elizabeth, you'll always be like my second little sister. I'll miss our sleepovers when we snack until midnight and catch up on all the gossip. Believe it or not, the tradition of going to school with my cousin stems back to when I was 5 years old, when I started kindergarten with my cousin Alex. Alex is the oldest of 3 kids, with a younger brother, Peter, and a younger sister, Alex. He and his family are also my next-door neighbors, and we have lived on the same street just a minute walk from each other our entire lives. We have gone through basically everything together. We are into a lot of the same things, like sports, school, and food. However, Alex is a brainiac, and I am, well, not. In the 3rd grade, Alex was doing Russian math and science competitions, and in the 3rd grade, I was super into not doing either of those things. I did sign up for some of the same after-school activities as Alex, like my personal favorite, dodgeball, or his personal favorite, Continental Math League, or as the cool kids called it, CML. In this picture, we have me in the blue, Alex in the gray directly behind me, and in the atrocious blue and green outfit, we have our very own Colin Cater. While I tried my best to keep up with Alex, I was never really able to reach his level of academics in school. He is just naturally intelligent, and I envy him for it. Alex has always known what his strengths are, and he continuously improves and works harder than most kids our age. Believe it or not, the tradition of going to school with a family member is not going to die soon. Alex and I both ended up getting accepted to the same college, and we will be freshmen there together in the fall. We started school together, and now we'll get to end it together. My relationships with each of my family members has shown me that each person is different. It is unrealistic to try to be exact same as someone else. Though for a while I felt as if I did not have an identity, I realized that I am not exactly like any of my family and friends, but in fact, they are all a part of me. I am fierce like Casey, goofy like Connor, driven like Kate, and focused like Alex. I got to go to high school with my family, but I also got to discover and create friendships outside my bloodline. Lexi, Maddie, Amanda, Kukas, Cutter, Jess, Marina, Daria, and Taylor. Thank you for being my closest friends and showing me that you do not have to be related in order to be one of my sisters. Amat, Stacy, Jay, T.O.B., and Taylor. Thank you for being some of the coolest coaches I've ever had the pleasure of playing for, and for allowing me to open up to you about all aspects of life. I believe this entitles you all to cool aunt status. Sharps, Dean, Amy, Mel, Mr. Hesse, Senora Miller, and Mrs. Hines. I've known all of you since the 1st grade, and I know I can rely on every single one of you for anything. You've all served the parental role that I sometimes needed at school, but way better because none of you can ground me. Tucker, thank you for making me feel like I am worth something, never hesitating to show me that I am loved, and for always reminding me that I am not alone. I don't know what I'm going to do without you by my side next year. Mom and Dad, thank you for cheering me on through the good times and holding my hand through the bad. I've always tried my best to succeed and grow into a daughter that will make you proud. Now having you downstairs or 15 minutes away will be harder than you know, especially because I don't know how to do my own laundry. Though I still may not know what I want to do when I get older or where I want to go, I have figured out that when I grow up, I just want to be Kailey. Thank you, Brooks, for teaching me to love myself and for helping me discover my passions and for giving me my second family. This community means the world to me, and leaving it will be one of the hardest things I have to do. Enjoy the rest of your time here. Find your second family, and most of all, just be you. Thank you.